For the past 7-8 years, you have mentioned a hadith from Abu Dawud which talks about Malhama. Umranu Baitul Maqdis, Qarabu Yatrib, Khurujul Malhama. And you mentioned that this Malhama will be the mother of all wars and it will probably wipe out 90% of human population. My question is it possible that this Malhama has already occurred in the form of World War II, because this planet has never witnessed a war as big as World War II, where millions of people died, and this did happen before Umrano Baitul Maqdis. Jerusalem became the center stage after the Balfour Declaration, and Kharabu Yathrib, Medina, lost its glory days after the Khilafah was abolished.
Fortunately, this is not such an irritating question, and it's not a difficult question, no. When we seek for an explanation in the Quran for the Malhama, or the Great War, is a chapter of my book that I'm writing at this time. It's almost finished. The topic is the Quran and the Great War. And the Quran and the Great War. Allah speaks in the Quran about the destruction of every town and every city. And the verse is in Surah Al-Isra, and he says, بَعْدَ أُوذِ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قَبْلَ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُوهَا عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا كَانَ ذَلِكَ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَسْطُورًا. That every town and every city we will destroy, and those which escape destruction will be punished with terrible punishment. And this is something inscribed in the book. I'm not translating, because the Quran cannot be translated. I am simply explaining what Allah has said in the Quran. This is tafsir. My first comment on this ayah of the Quran is that Allah will not destroy a town or a city which does not deserve destruction, because that will be unjust, and Allah is not unjust. And so now our first comment is that Allah will destroy every town and every city which deserves to be destroyed. Every town and every city which deserves to be destroyed is a massive destruction in the world. And for me, a massive destruction in the world of every town and every city which ought to be destroyed is a one-time event. And that one-time event of massive destruction fits into the Malhama. Which are those towns? Which are those towns which ought to be deserved and destroyed? Well, you know, first of all, there is homosexuality and the people of Lut. And when Allah destroyed them, He did it as an ayah, a warning that if you return to homosexuality, I'll return with my destruction. Number two, that Allah spoke in the Quran that He's going to wage war on the moneylender. That's what He said. The last verse to be revealed in the Quran was on riba. Allah and His Messenger will wage war on those who are still practicing riba and growing rich by sucking the blood of mankind. So when Allah wages war to destroy every town and every city, which town and which city should be up on the top of the list? Number one, the moneylender. Those who have grown fat with their banking system based on riba, on the monetary system based on riba, and they have grown wealthy and fat, and the rest of the world has been ripped off and are living now in miserable poverty. Not only is Allah going to destroy you, destroy your cities, but He's going to punish you. How does He punish you? Those who are not destroyed will be punished with terrible punishment. The punishment is, Allah says, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَى, those who consume riba, as in the Western world. لَا يَقُومُونَ إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. They are going to eventually live like a people who have been driven to madness by the touch of shaitan. those who are growing fat with riba, are going to live eventually like a people who have been driven to madness by the touch of shaitan. They're going to live a miserable life. They're going to see events of a man going into a school and shooting and killing so many children, going into a restaurant or into a supermarket and just blindly killing people, as though they've gone mad. As though they've gone mad. And then thirdly, Allah speaks of destruction. He destroyed Fir'aun because of his oppression. And when he destroyed Fir'aun, he destroyed his all his army with him. He said, I preserve the body of Fir'aun, so that when it is recovered in history, it will function as a sign, لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً, for the succeeding generation. That if you follow the path of Fir'aun and become the oppressors of the world, I will destroy you the same way I destroyed Fir'aun. So when the Malhama takes place and Allah is destroying every town and city, do you think He's going to destroy those who say, not for 100 years, we will never allow a man to marry another man and get a marriage certificate? Will He destroy them? When Allah is destroying every town and every city in the Malhama, will He destroy those who become miserably poor because of riba? Huh? And those who are the victims of oppression? Not at all. So when the Malhama takes place, Allah will be on one side and will help that side. And the other side is going to be destroyed and defeated. But I don't want to say more about the subject. There's much more on the Malhama, but let us keep them guessing.
I've got a really, really tiny question regarding the Malhama again. Does the Malhama have to involve nuclear warheads or nuclear bombs? Because certain studies show that this planet cannot survive a nuclear world war, because it will create tsunamis, earthquakes. Even in nuclear winter, the sun wouldn't come in. There will be a huge cloud.
Good question. Yeah, good question. Good question. I understand the question. Yeah. First of all, we now turn to the hadiths of Sahih Bukhari, and then we'll come to the Quran, because the hadith is in harmony with the Quran. That the Prophet ﷺ prophesied, you know about the war in which 99 out of every 100 will be killed. I perhaps believe that I have done more work on this hadith than most other scholars of Islam have done. Okay? I have consistently explained this hadith for years and years and years and years, when everybody else is silent on it. A war in which 99% of combatants have been killed has never occurred so far in history. A war in which every town and every city is going to be destroyed fits into this hadith. It's harmonious with this hadith. And only a war in which weapons of mass destruction are used would kill 99% of all combatants. Nuclear weapons and thermonuclear weapons are weapons of mass destruction. So we may or may not use the word nuclear. What we should say is weapons of mass destruction, because there may be weapons out there even worse than nuclear weapons. We don't know about it yet. Then there is more evidence in the Quran now about supporting nuclear war. In one of the most intriguing surahs of the Quran on Akhir Zaman, it's not Suratul Kafr. No, it's not Suratul Isra. No, it is Suratul Rahman. Yes. But so far I have never come across a tafsir of Surah Al-Rahman which shows its links, its direct links with Akhir Zaman and with the Malhama. I've never come across any hadith, any tafsir which has done so far. My critics are going to say, well, if he is the first person to ever say something, no one ever said it before, well, then he has to be wrong. And my response is, okay, I'm wrong. So then what do? Forget me and go about your way and leave me alone if I'm wrong. All right? I am making no effort whatsoever to convince you that I am right. And I am warning the people, do not accept my views unless you are convinced that they are correct. So if you are saying that I am wrong, that nobody ever said it before, Imran is the first to say it, and I am wrong, and then my response is, okay, fine, full stop, I'm wrong. So then why don't you go your way and leave me alone? Okay? I am perfectly happy and comfortable to continue doing the work that I am doing, assured, with the assurance that if this is indeed the truth that I am explaining, it will survive in history. That's right. And so when we go to Surah Ar-Rahman of the Quran, and I cannot expand on it today, but on another occasion we can do that, inshallah, you have to ask yourself the question, nothing happens in the Quran by accident. Nothing. Allah does not waste words in the Quran. No. When Zulkarnain went in the direction of the rising of the sun, and he came across a people, لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُم مِّن دُونِهَا سِتْرًا, a people for whom we had provided nothing more as a covering other than what they had naturally. So hence a people perhaps living a primitive way of life. What would he do? How would he respond to them? How would he use power with them? Allah uses only one word, one single solitary word to explain the response. He says, Kazalik. Kazalik. Meaning, he met them like that and he left them like that. So one word he uses, one. Should I repeat that for you? He uses only one solitary word. So then why in Surah Ar-Rahman does he repeat 31 times فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? Has anyone ever answered that question? Is it by accident that Allah has done this? Why this superfluity? Why this repetition? It cannot be by accident. Then give me the answer. Tell me what is the... And I'm speaking now to my critics who are relentless in attacking me and in closing the doors of the masjid to me. Shame on you. I'm asking you to answer me, not those who are coming to me humbly, with humility, with hunger in their hearts for knowledge, with thirst in their hearts for... I'll never speak to them like that, not at all. But to you, who shut the doors of the masjid to me, I'm asking you for the answer. Don't you have any shame? When will you give me the answer? Why has Allah repeated 31 times in Surah Ar-Rahman, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? I'm not going to give you the answer, no. No, I want you to tell me the answer. But if you go to Surah Ar-Rahman, you'll see the Malhama in Surah Ar-Rahman. And you'll see who the Malhama is going to be attacking, who are going to be destroyed in the Malhama. And you'll see the evidence in Surah Ar-Rahman that is most certainly harmonious with a nuclear war. Thank you.